This is Abnormal Entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Prime Cutler, a recap of Very Cavallari that focuses on the star of the show, Jay Cutler. My name's Kevin Moyers, and each week I'm going to give you a little rundown of the show, and of course, the most important moments of each show, the Jay Cutler moments. Now, my history with Kristin Cavallari is that I knew she was married to Jay Cutler, and I saw her in a couple episodes of The League, where she was very funny. I enjoyed her time there. Maybe 3 episodes, I'd say. But if you remember that, she did a whole storyline where Jenny and Kevin stole the breast milk out of her bag because they wanted to make their kid as strong as the Cutlet, as they were calling the Cutler baby. So Jay Cutler was also on, I think, only 1 episode of the show. But he was, entertaining for a football player who acts, and, we see that many times in the past, Brian Bosworth, Howie Long, Terry Bradshaw, it doesn't always work out so well. So that's where that is. Now, my history with Jay Cutler, I grew up in Chicago, so I've been a lifelong Bears fan because, that's what happens when you grow up in a city, you adopt that team. Not so much into football these days, but I did watch Jay's entire career with the Bears, and in my lifetime, he's the only good quarterback they've ever had. Now, I'll stop all the Jim McMahon fans here. He was a fine quarterback, but a really good leader. That's why he was successful. Cutler, not such a great leader, but a great quarterback, so he was semi-successful. They got to 1 NFC championship, but I always appreciated Cutler. I was happy when he came to the team, when he got traded. His coaching was crap the entire time he was there, so it's not all his fault. But he just had sort of a, whatever kind of attitude to things when they went wrong. He said, and he did his press conferences, well, should have done this and should have done that, whatever, and he was always very dry and, in a way, entertaining to me. My favorite thing about Jay Cutler, and the reason I really do like him, is his last year in Miami was garbage, but whatever. He should have retired. He retired and then unretired for a year. But my favorite thing that he ever did, before he showed up in Chicago, the big star was Brian Urlacher, the linebacker, right? And Cutler started getting the attention. So Urlacher started shit-talking his brand-new quarterback, which I always thought was dumb. Like, what are you doing, you little jealous baby? And I hated Urlacher since that moment. I still hate him for that. So when Urlacher retired, because he spent his last, 4 years limping on and off the field every game, or, the few that he played, he complained that when he retired, everyone texted him, happy retirement, whatever, except for Jay Cutler. Now, first off, why would he bother with you? You were an asshole to him the entire time you were playing together. But Cutler didn't care. He just goes, all right, I guess I'll text him. I don't know. And it was like the best trolling but non-trolling that I've ever seen. And he just okay, whatever. I don't give a shit. I guess I'll send him a text. So that's my favorite Jay Cutler moment before this show. Now, the basis for the show, and normally these will be shorter because it is a recap. I don't want to make this as long as a show, but I'll give you the basic idea of the show. Kristin Cavallari has had her own shoes. She wrote a book, whole 9 yards, and now she's starting this clothing line, and they're putting together the first actual physical store, brick and mortar, whatever you want to call it. And she and Jay live in Nashville, Tennessee, full-time. He went to Vanderbilt out there, always loved it, always wanted to raise kids out there. Took her there. The first time she was there, she was like, yes, I love it here. So she fell in love with the city right away. And they've been married for 7 years, I believe it was. Had a pretty quick courtship to engagement and stuff like that. And they've been together ever since. So Uncommon James is the name of the store. evolution of the name is in the episode. It's like their daughter's middle name, and Jay came up with the word uncommon. So that was that. It wasn't anything really special. So I don't know. I don't think it's a great name, but whatever. So, and the kids, I will give them credit for this. The kids are not on camera because they don't want to force them onto it, like so many shows have done. Now, if you know anything about me, you know my daughter and I write books together, and she chooses to be out there. She chooses to be at the conventions, selling her art, signing books, things like that. So and yeah, she's 9, but it's what she wants to do, and I encourage her being artistic and trying to learn how to be open with people. That's a different thing. But I really respect that, these little kids, they have no choice in this. So, they want to keep them out of it. I like that about the show. So, you get this explanation of everything, and Kristin is in the kitchen, and here comes Jay Cutler, and you almost want to hear Baby Elephant Walk with this, or some of that, like, old sitcom. He just walks in, sort of somewhat mismatched clothing, wearing, like, a weird camouflagey hat. He's wearing a vest, and I'm talking Marty McFly vest, not quite as thick, and he just has this giant cooler. He walks in and plops it on the counter, and she's like, "What's that?" And he goes, "Deer meat." Got it from my dad. He just plops down a cooler of deer meat. I don't know why he's walking around with it. I have no idea. It makes no sense, but it's so perfect. And she's like, "What are you going to do today?" He's like, "Well, I'm going to take the kids to school." That's about it. That's all. That's all he has planned. He wants to do nothing. Now, before he signed with the Dolphins, he retired from the Bears and immediately got a job with Fox broadcasting in the games. He was going to be the field guy for whichever team. I don't even know who they were going to pair him with. But then he unretired quickly and did a year with the Dolphins. Now, he's not even doing that. He's like, forget the broadcasting, where I even then thought he was going to be great because he was starting to, deal some shit on some of his fellow players that he didn't like. So that was good. But he's just like, yeah, I don't feel like doing anything. And she's got this, like, Kristin has this, like, I want you out of the house kind of face. But no, the dude has spent over a decade battering his body, and he's come home, like, his last Bears contract, from what I remember, was like $7 million for 4 years. So he's put the cash away. He's done the work. Let the man have a break. Give him a year. Give him a year. Right? And he hasn't even had that. He's had, a matter of months at this point. Actually, the whole season is filmed. They're airing 6-7 months after the season ended for him. So I don't even know, how soon after the season this was. So, they give the guy a break. Let him breathe a little bit. Let him breathe. So, she tells him that the ladies are coming over, and those are her employees. He's not happy. He just has this face. He makes, like, a tiny range of facial expressions. And I don't know. But so he's making this face like he's not happy that they're coming over. He doesn't want people in his house. He does not want them around. They're a bunch of annoyances to him. And once you meet these women who work with Kristin, you understand. And I'm going to say this too. There are also 3 guys that are kind of part of the staff. One who becomes like an actual hired-on guy in the second episode, but they're annoying as well. Everybody that works for Kristin Cavallari, annoying as fuck. And Jay Cutler cannot stand any of them. Not one. So, I'll run these down, the ones you meet in episode 1. So you get Rachel, who is hired to be the boss to run the store, right? She's like, "Oh, I'm from Philly, and when you come down here from Philly, first of all, nobody gives a shit where you're from, and being from a city doesn't mean you have certain traits. Look, I'm from Chicago. I'm a big, loud, obnoxious idiot. Not everybody from Chicago is a big, loud, obnoxious idiot. Only probably like 96% of us. So it means nothing. But, you know, she's complaining about having to deal with these Southern belles who are nice to your face and talk behind your back, which is all over this show. So but she's spineless. She's completely spineless. I'm from Philly, so no, you're spineless. You have no guts. So if coming from Philly means you're spineless, then okay. Other than that, it means shit. It means absolute shit. So, like, she can't even talk to these people. And her boyfriend, she later complains in the episode. I'm not even going to go too far into that. But he's some music producer, and he looks like if Roddy Piper was still alive, but had gone into hiding, and told his plastic surgeon to make him look like Eddie Vedder, but give him Artie Lang's current nose. That's what he looks like. Do that math in your head, and that's what you got. And that's what this dude looks like. And he's like 15, 17 years older than her. There's no way, like physically, there's no way these two human beings should be together. But hey, whatever. Love is love. Do what makes you happy. Don't care. But holy shit, Roddy Piper, Eddie Vedder, and a touch of Artie Lang. I am not kidding you. And he's wearing the dumbest goddamn hat I've ever seen. But you know how these musicians like, I gotta dress silly or cool, whatever. I don't know. I dress like I just ran really fast through a Goodwill, and this is my outfit. That's pretty much what musicians look like to me. She also has Shannon. Shannon is the social media director, which means I make Instagram posts. That's it. That's what she does. And she's fucking useless. She is the worst person on this entire show. Like, second worst. Because she has a friend who models the clothes. I don't even remember her name. I know it was Simple. I'm just going to call her Spoon because she stirs the shit. That's all that girl does. She's like evil and says flat out, I like how I look, and that's why I should be a model. That's it. She's dumb, useless, and garbage. I mean, typical reality show trash. So, but anyway, she's Shannon's best friend. Shannon is horrible. She's this really conceited redhead, thinks she can do no wrong. She acts like she's 12. Absolutely. Gets worse in the second episode. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm breaking these apart, so each one goes with an episode. But she does nothing. She admits that she's lazy. And then at one point, while her friend is getting made up for a photo shoot, is talking shit about Rachel to her friend, and Rachel walks in on it, and then she's just like, oh, I just talk behind your back because it's easier than saying it to your face. And Rachel just stands there like a dumb face because she can't stand up to anybody. And then you have Reagan, who is Kristin's assistant. This girl, like, you look at her and all you see is dumb. She looks like she's either very tired or very stoned at all times. She really belongs on Floribama Shore. That's where she belongs. This is the wrong show for her. But she adds to the chaos. And that's it. And even Kristin says, everybody thinks she's dumb at first. And yeah, obviously. So, and the guys, there are two guys that work on the photo shoot and help put the store together, and they're really inconsequential in this episode. I don't even know their names. And there's a third guy who comes up more in the second episode. I don't remember his name, but it's like a rich boy name, and you'll hear why later if you haven't watched. But so these are the women coming in to the Cutler Cavallari home, and Jay is not happy. And they walk in the house, and Kristin told him, be nice. Because I don't know how he's been to them before. I just know he's really annoyed. But she says, be nice. And they walk in, and he just looks at them. Doesn't say a fucking word. They walk past him, and he just stares, like, irritated face. Like, he wants them to know he doesn't want them there. He wants them to know they are not welcome in his home. They're welcome in Kristin's home, not in Jay's home. So they all go up to whatever room they're going to go do their thing in. And she's like, you can't even say hi? He goes, I'll say bye. Just dry as fuck. And I'm dying. So, while they're up there, he texts Kristin, sends her a text message that a car is on their lawn. Shannon, the social media girl, and I say girl because she's like 22, and I'm an old man at 42, so that's a kid to me. I don't care if it's disrespectful because she acts like a child. Don't care. But he sends Kristin a text that Shannon's parked on the lawn, and he hates that. And so she tells Shannon, and Shannon's response to the interview camera is she's afraid to be in a room alone with Jay because he'll steal her soul, which is probably true. So Kristin's trying hard to get this office, at least the office space, done in her store. It's not going to be ready for a couple of weeks, but she's like, can we get the office part done first as a priority so we can work out of here, and then you can finish the retail part. So the lady promises her 4 days, which is good, but she still has to have meetings in the house. So Reagan shows up first. And Jay's like, come here, I want to show you something. They're the only two there. Come here. And there's a bunch of orange cones in the garage. And he goes, grab some of these and take them down to the street. Now they have this suburban house, and like when I was growing up in Illinois, there were a lot of suburban neighborhoods where there was no sidewalk or no curb. It just the grass ended and the street began, right? And that's how this is. So he makes her grab cones, and he grabs some, and he starts walking down the driveway. And he goes, what are you doing? You only have two? And she's like, well, I had a workout yesterday. It was arms. And he's like, what? I'm really, what? So he's like, all right, so line these up along the street. Now you know the difference between the grass and the street? And she's like, what? And he's making her line the cones along the grass so that nobody parks on the grass and they stay on the street. It's one of the greatest old man get off my lawn moments in television history, and I loved every bit of it. And then Kristin shows up while it's going on. He's like, I was just having some fun, just playing a little prank on her, just messing with her. And she's just like, ah. So, a little side story on this. Kristin meets up with her best friend, Kelly. And they've been friends for about as long as she and Jay have been together. And I don't remember what Kelly does, whatever, but they're just going out for drinks. I don't care what she does for a living. I really don't give a shit, but she's not part of the store. She's just her actual friend. So they go to a bar, and they start talking about this Canadian guy that they met somewhere, and they decide to find his Instagram. She met him one time. They find his Instagram, and it's private, so her friend's like, I added him, and then throws her phone down and covers her mouth, like, oh my goodness, I added him. Like, who gives a shit? Who cares? So you added the dude on, wow. And they start like, we should plan the wedding now. Are you out of your fucking minds? It's hilarious. And Kristin is sitting there texting him for her, trying to get this hookup to happen. And she and Jay, they said, they'd been to dinner alone like once in the past 6 months. Shit's been so busy. So they plan a dinner. They're going to have date night together, which is nice. But so as they're getting ready, he's getting dressed up. Kelly's over there, and they're talking about this guy. And he sent a message right back. Ah! Like, he doesn't even live in Nashville. Nothing. I don't know where the fuck. I think he lives in Ontario or some shit. And it's just like, what are you doing here? And like, what is this? It was like an Instagram hookup, international. And he's just like, wow. Wow, you guys are stalking this guy right now. You met him one time? And it's just like, it's the most insane thing to me. And so this is when Kristin reveals her nickname for Jay, which is Les Mis, because he responds with this miserable tone to everything, which is what makes him entertaining. He's like, okay, whatever, and he's fixing his hair and, getting all dressed up for dinner and shit like that. I gotta say, just entertaining as hell, this show, because of him. I see the storyline and stuff, but I want a camera on Jay Cutler 24 hours a day, and I want to be able to just log in and watch whenever, like it's Big Brother, and just see him sitting there going, what? And then I'll turn it off and I'll walk away and go on with my day. It's entertaining to me. Even at dinner, they go to this nice restaurant. He gets they have some private rooms, so he gets one of the private rooms for them, and he orders the game meat or whatever, and he's making jokes about medium rare. And Kristin's like, is there any other way? Like, they're fucking with the waiter. Just joking around with him. And she orders her food and before Jay, and Jay looks at the waiter and goes, how do you feel about that? He's like, it's a pretty good choice. And he's like, I don't know what is so goddamn funny about this to me, but it's great. He's like, he's sitting there, and Kristin's like, so what do you plan to do every day? Like, you can't just sit around the house all day every day. And she's like, don't you have to do something. And he goes, I plan to do the exact opposite of that. She's just like, she just wants him out of the house. She's so used to him not being there. He's driving her nuts. So that's pretty much where episode 1 ends, with him like, no, I'm not doing shit. Get these women out of my house. They drive me nuts, and I'm not going to do a fucking thing. I just want to sit in my house and enjoy my life, my retirement. So there it is. Season 1, episode 1. I call it Get Off My Lawn because that's the best part of the episode. But I plan to do this with every episode, going through every week. We're talking about doing another show, me with Frankie G from Masterpiece Theater. He and I are discussing another reality show that he and I watch. I don't watch these things really, but I heard about this on an NFL podcast, and that I enjoy, and they were like just in awe of Cutler, a guy who everybody's crapped on for so long, and I had to watch it, and I'm just in. I'm the guy on Sunday night who's going into the E app and finding it. So it's on the E network. You can get an app on your Roku and watch it. If you have, cable, of course you can find it, but even if you don't, it's right there in your Roku. Just get the E channel app. And so far, you haven't needed a subscription to watch the new episodes, so go check that out. And head over to abnormalentertainment.com. You can listen to all of our shows over there. We have Cinema Head Cheese about movies. We have Masterpiece Theater, as I just mentioned, which is mostly pop culture. It's on hiatus, but another season is coming soon. You put it together. The No Cry Zone, Glory Hound, and The Uninvited Gamers, if you're a game person. You like board games, that kind of gaming. Just so much over there. Fun stuff. And check all of that out. But for now, this is Kevin Moyers, and I will be back with Episode 2 of Very Cavallari on Prime Cutler. Listen to more of Prime Cutler and subscribe at abnormalentertainment.com. Find all Abnormal Entertainment shows at abnormalentertainment.com, Stitcher Smart Radio, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Find me at Kevin Moyers on Twitter and on Facebook. Find Abnormal Entertainment at Abnormal Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.